Welcome back to another Disco Inferno YouTube channel video. Today is not an episode of Explore the Disco. I know, shocking. Absolutely revolutionary stuff here. I'm doing a video that's not talking about a single artist. In fact, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of different artists today. Because I want to talk about something. Because I saw this post on Instagram. Because I scroll a lot. I have a time limit on my Instagram. That's how bad my scrolling is. And this post pissed me the fuck off. Alright. So first, before we get into it, I feel like I should give a little bit of context, right? Pitchfork is a music reviewing magazine, a la maybe like The Source. Double XL started as a magazine, but it's more similar to like, it's almost kind of like the Rotten Tomatoes of music reviewing. Like, normal people can go on there, critics can go on there. It's that sort of platform, right? Pitchfork, let me just, before we get into the part that pissed me off, is Pitchfork is now switching to a subscription model. So you have to pay to see their scores and write reviews. And I feel like that's going to send their business under. So that's just going to absolutely tank them. But also, I don't mind it, because Pitchfork has had bad takes for years, and this is the perfect example of it. Pitchfork put out a post. I guess this is technically not the Pitchfork's post. Pitchfork put out a statement giving context to how they rate their albums. And they provided examples of albums of various scores, right? I'm going to start at the top. Because the top is, if you start at the top and work backwards, it pisses you off. It pisses you off later in the video, so that this front end can be a little more funnier and a little less a little more we're having fun. And then by the end of the video, you'll be pissed off and hate Pitchfork. Just like me. All right. Let's get into this, shall we? So, Pitchfork starts with just 10. Well, actually, they started with 0, but I'm starting with 10. 10. A masterpiece. One of the best albums of all time. Will be culturally and aesthetically important many years from now in some way. Okay, that makes sense, right? Some album examples they have here. Voodoo by D'Angelo. I haven't personally heard that record, but I've heard it's one of the best records of all time, so, like, I'm not going to fight them on that. Kid A by Radiohead. Alright, cool. Like, I've heard that's a fantastic record as well. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West. I don't know if I would have put it at a 10, but I would have put it pretty close. And Illmatic by Nas. Again, all four great, respectable albums to give a perfect rating to. Moving down, 9.1 to 9.9. A Monument, an instant classic. Sounds ahead of its time, sounds timeless, immediately belongs in the canon. Entire genres could be created in its wake. So you got some scores between 9.1 and 9.9 here. In Rainbows by Radiohead has a 9.3. Channel Orange by Frank Ocean, 9.5. I've heard how great that record is, so I'm not going to debate it. To Pimp a Butterfly, 9.3. Well deserved. Personally, I would put it a 10, but I'm not gonna 9.3 is good enough, especially for Pitchfork. Yeezus is on here, 9.5. I mean, hey, if you want to pick a Kanye album, at least that's better than some of the other ones. So far, from the 9.1 all the way up to the 10, I don't really have problems with it so far. Let's keep going, shall we? 8.6 to 9.0. A major statement, worthy of your time and energy, no matter your taste. Transcends genre, claims new ground, a total and intentional work of art, possesses an aura that makes it vital to its genre, its era, or the artist's career. So, 8.6 to 9.0. We've got some good ones here. The Life of Pablo, Kanye West. I didn't check beforehand. Is there going to be a Kanye album on every one of these pages? I don't know. Stick around and find out. Blonde. They also put / Endless, but like Endless wasn't really an album. It wasn't like part of Blonde, so like I don't know what they're on with that one. But that was rated 9.0, same as The Life of Pablo. Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B, 8.7. I've heard it's a good album. I don't know if I would personally enjoy it. Oh. Sorry. I don't know if I would personally enjoy it. I don't think it's my bag. But I've heard it's very good. It won the Grammy in that one controversial year. So like it's got to be at least somewhat good. Take Care by Drake. I've heard that anyone who is still talking about Drake, that's the album that they point to as his best work. Yeah. Everything else kind of sucks. So, like, I'm not, like, mad at them yet, right? 8.0 to 8.5. Essential Listening. Among the best records of the year. Shows a mastery of craft or taps into the sublime. Feels a part of the zeitgeist. Steps out of its genre. Takes big risks that pay off. At an 8.5, Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. Banger album. I agree with that. I would have maybe slid it up to like somewhere in between an 8.5 and 9. But I have been called Tyler, the Creator dick rider before. And I'm not trying to do that, so 8.5 is totally fair. It's a great, solid album. Control by SZA with an 8.4. I've heard that album's fantastic, so I'm not going to fight it. Rest in Bass by Che, 8.3, an album I've never heard of. But I'll take their word for it. And then the last one here is Whole Lotta Red at 8.3. And, like, I get it. But also, like, that feels strangely high. Like, I guess critically, it's probably the best of Cardi's projects. But, like, if you think about it, like, if you talk to, like, Cardi fans, A Whole Lotta Red is, like, one of his worst records. Like, most Cardi fans will pick his self-titled or, Die Lit over Whole Lotta Red any day. I think some Cardi fans are even now taking Music over Whole Lotta Red. Although those ones are the insane ones, so I wouldn't take their word for it. But, again, I'm not mad yet. I'm not mad. Sorry. I had to slip into an impression there. I'm not mad about it yet. Absolutely not. 7.6 to 7.9. Excellent record, highly recommended. Best in class for its genre. Not a bad song on it. So 7.6 to 7.9 here. What a collection they have here. Some of these, 2 of these albums listed, are albums that people talk about as being fantastic albums. We got Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I know it's not his best project. It was kind of regarded as his worst one before GNX came along. But, like, I get it. I mean, like, I think it's a... sorry. I think it's a very good project. So I'm not going to, like... I'm going to talk it up a little bit, but that's just because I've heard it, and I like it, and I think it's really good. Again, At Long Last ASAP. I know this one's got a bit of, like, the... not just the Rocky fans, but, like, the hip-hop fans are like, this album is great. And, like, I personally haven't listened to it, but, I mean, I will take the word of the public on this one. 7.8 for At Long Last ASAP, 7.6 for Mr. Morale. And then you've got 2 albums that don't feel like they're on the same level. Music by Playboi Carti is a 7.7, ranked higher than Mr. Morale. Here's where things are getting a little weird. Here's where I'm like, Pitchfork, what are we doing? Now, I just thought of this idea right now while recording. If you want to see this happen, let me know. It could be a really fun video idea. Sorry. It's 5:30 in the morning. It could be a really fun video idea to listen to all these albums and rank them myself where they go and see how closely with Pitchfork I'm aligned. That would be fun to do. Because granted, like, I haven't listened to a lot of these albums. Now, I did fully listen to music, and I would not put it at a 7.7 above Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I would not put it at a 7.7 just barely below At Long Last ASAP. Oh, and the last album on the list here has the same score as Mr. Morale, a 7.6. That's right, Y2K by Ice Spice. One of the most garbage records to come out in 2024 is ranked a 7.6 by Pitchfork. This is the first tipping point. The truly first tipping point. Like, now you're allowed to get mad. And I did. I flipped through this the normal way. So I started off mad. And then I got to the end and I was like, all right. They did all right in the top, like, the top 9 to 10. Again, not a bad song on it. And one of the albums featured is Y2K by Ice Spice. Not a bad song on it. And one of the albums featured here is Music by Playboi Carti. What are we doing, Pitchfork? 7.0 to 7.5. Pitchfork says it's a very good record. Recommend checking it out. Hardly a dull moment, a great hang, maybe plays it safe, but executes everything very well, maybe takes some risks, but doesn't land everything perfectly. The highest score on here is the Cap 7.5. That goes to Swimming by Mac Miller. I haven't heard this project personally, but correct me if I'm wrong, didn't people say that actually Balloonerism dropped and people were stoked about that one? But I think before Balloonerism, anything that Mac puts out was kind of a hit with the gang. Like, I don't know people who listen to Mac, but I see the discourse online, and there's a reason why in a lot of songs when they're like, shout out the greats that died too soon, Mac is on the list. It's just he made such an impact in the short time he was here. So, rest in peace. At a 7.2, Psychotic by Osama Son. I've never heard this record. I'll just say props to Osama Son for getting a high-ranking album like that, and also a feature in the Pitchfork post. And at 7.1s each, Scaring the Hose by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, an album I heard was fantastic, and Yay by Kanye West. I don't know anything about this album, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know anything about Yay. Shall we keep going? Let's keep going, shall we? This is the 6.6 to 6.9. So just keep this in mind. This is just barely below Yay by Kanye West. So just keep in mind that Y2K is a 7.6. If we want to... Here, let me read the synopsis first. Good record for 6.6 to 6.9. Good record. A few issues, but worth your attention if you're into the band or genre. Maybe starts strong and fades a little by the end, includes a few songs that don't move the needle, but also has a handful of outstanding moments. If you flip the 7.6 from Y2K around, you get 6.7. Given to two different albums here, Starboy by The Weeknd and Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. Both considerably way better than Y2K by Ice Spice. Also in the same category, 6.8, A$AP Rocky's new album, Don't Be Dumb. I haven't had the chance to listen to it. I heard it's good, but then the discourse quickly dropped off the face of the earth, especially with, for me at least, especially with all of the fall off talk. I got a lot of J. Cole stuff on my feed. And at a whopping 6.9, ranking higher, just in this category alone, ranking higher than Man on the Moon 2, Starboy, and Don't Be Dumb, is The Big Day by Chance the Rapper. 6.9. Let me pause real quick so you can make an audible, what the ever-living fuck did you say, Pitchfork? The Big Day by Chance the Rapper. The same album with the track Hot Shower on it is ranked higher than Starboy by The Weeknd. Starboy by The Weeknd, an album of back-to-back hits. Even though you know about 3, 4, maybe 5 of the songs off of it that are hits, listen to Starboy again and tell me that there's not a single song on there that's not a hit. Here, interesting artistic challenge. Go listen to Starboy by The Weeknd. And then right after that, listen to The Big Day by Chance the Rapper. And you will have an existential experience of reaching the peak of your happiness and then immediately plummeting. Now, just disclaimer real quick. This sounds like I'm hating a lot. I am hating a lot. I'm picking out albums that I know the albums and I know the people behind them, right? I do want to point out though, I just to clear the air here, I agree with the public. The Big Day was a terrible record. But that's no hate towards Chance the Rapper. I enjoyed Coloring Book. I enjoyed 10 Day. I enjoyed Acid Rap. I enjoyed all of his other projects before that. And then when he dropped Starline, I think it was technically at the end of last year now, when he dropped Starline, I listened to it, and I enjoyed that project. I listened to it more than once, front to back. I thought Starline by Chance the Rapper had a good chance at going to the Grammys. I think he was past the deadline, though, so maybe he'll be on next year's. Or this year, 2026's, I did air quotes, 2026's Grammys in 2027. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not hating on Chance the Rapper as a guy or as a musician. Purely just the big day. The big day got him divorced. I'm cracking jokes. I'm sorry. Shall we keep going? Here, let's take a little break. You and I. Just take a deep breath. Good. I'm actually going to pause my recording real quick and get some water. Welcome back. That was 0 time to you, but all the time to me. I took a decompression break. I took a water break. Got some juice flowing through me. That sounded weird. Apologies. Let's move on, shall we? 6.0 to 6.5. Pretty good. Not great. Some unavoidable issues, but interesting. Fans of the band or genre will get the most out of it. I'm gonna Google something, but while I Google that, we're gonna talk about a different thing. Because we're gonna point something out here. 6.0 to 6.5, right? Let's go this one, sure. Oh, this is like the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I got the track list. All right. Just talking about 6.0 to 6.5 is interesting, right? Because let's keep in mind, Y2K by Ice Spice is a 7.6. Since I Googled it anyway, I'll talk about it right now. At a 6.4 is Discovery by Daft Punk. Now, you might not know the album by name, but you know some of the hits. On Discovery, there's obviously... there's Digital Love, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. If you don't know that song, you know Kanye's Stronger. And most importantly in my head, One More Time, only Daft Punk's most famously, juiced up song of all time. Now, granted, I'm looking at the rest of that track list, and it's not things I know by name or at all. But for an album with One More Time and a Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger on it, and just remembering what those songs sound like, the rest of the album can't have been 6.4 bad, right? But enough about Daft Punk. Let's talk about some of the other albums here. At a 6.0, I was about to say Utopia. It's not Utopia. It's Rodeo by Travis Scott. Only one of his most acclaimed albums of all time. It's pretty much Rodeo and Astroworld, and that's kind of where he peaked, because people don't talk about Birds in the Trap. Now these next two I want to talk about at the same time, because if you know Pitchfork, the common Pitchfork meme is LMAO, this album got a worse score than Peppa's Adventures, the album. which sits at a 6.5. The common meme is to take insert artist album here with the score that's lower than a 6.5 next to Peppa's Adventures. But let's recontextualize the meme for a second. Pitchfork in this announcement seriously, and I'm not kidding, it's listed Rodeo, Discovery, this album, and Peppa's Adventures. Like, they're right next to each other on the bottom here. Both at 6.5s. Peppa's Adventures, the album, is equally as good as Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips. Process that. An album that produced songs that won Grammys? An album that was close to winning a Grammy. Songs that were close to winning a Grammy if they didn't already. I know they didn't win the album, but I can't remember if they won any of the song ones. Is a 6.5. And not only that, but so is Peppa's Adventures, the album. Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips is worse than Music by Playboi Carti, is worse than Y2K by Ice Spice, is worse than The Big Day by Chance the Rapper by 0.4 points. It's only going to get worse, friends. Let's go down a bit more, shall we? 5.6 to 5.9. This page is a little bit more of a break from reality, because it seems relatively normal. 5.6 to 5.9. Decent record, a few things going for it, but a handful of major issues overwhelm the experience. So a 5.6 to 5.9. At a 5.7 is Utopia by Travis Scott. I would agree with that. I've only heard a couple songs. In reality, we've all basically heard Fiend, and that's about it. Also at a 5.7 is Pink Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. I don't know a whole lot about that album. I'm just kind of shrugging, because this page is a bit more of like a, oh, okay, this isn't as bad, right? And then it keeps getting worse. Because the Internet by Childish Gambino is 5.8. From the tracks I've heard, I think it's a great album. It probably should be ranked higher, but it's Childish Gambino. I'm not gonna fight like super hard for it. It definitely should be higher than The Big Day by Chance the Rapper. Some of the rankings here are absolutely garbage. And at the same ranking of 5.8 is Vultures 1 by Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign. An album where Carnival was the only good song off of it. And I wouldn't even call that good. But that's my personal taste. Is Carnival even from Vultures 1? Or is that one a Vultures 2 track and I'm tripping? Now, unfortunately, on this next page, I don't have a lot of experience on these albums just because I didn't listen to these four. 5.0 to 5.5. Not very good, but not a total disaster. That's all it says. It's just the one sentence. Born to Die, Lana Del Rey, 5.5, which I know that the Lana fans hate that. The Lana fans are like, that album's at least an 8. But I haven't listened to it myself, so I don't know how it actually should be ranked. Oh god, this is a long name. Pablo Honey Collector's Edition / OK Computer Collector's Edition / The Benz Collector's Edition by Radiohead 5.4. All of which are albums ranked above a 5.4, so I don't know how putting collector's editions together into one album would lower the ranking. Probably just length. But I don't know. Swag 2 by Justin Bieber at a 5.2. And then also at a 5.2, Alter Ego by Lisa. I don't know anything about those albums. I'm not even going to lie to you. Let's go to the next page, shall we? This is 4.0 to 4.9. All Pitchfork says is, quote, pretty bad, end quote. That's it. So this better be good, right? I don't know how many of y'all listen to Young Lean. I don't. But apparently his Poison Ivy album is a 4.9. Maybe the Young Lean fans are mad about that. Maybe they're not. I don't know opinions of... I don't know opinions of Poison Ivy by Young Lean. I'm sorry. At a 4.3, 7 EP by Lil Nas X, which you might not know the name of the album off the top of your head. That's the album that produced Old Town Road, the hit that truly broke Lil Nas X out onto the scene. Have I heard anything else from that album? No. Do I want to? Nah. His music further down the line is a lot more interesting, so I don't know. I guess a 4.3 makes sense. It feels a little low for Old Town Road, but like I have an ear that doesn't exactly expire to sounds as quickly as everyone else. So like sometimes, and I'm going to emphasize sometimes I'll bang out to Old Town Road in the car. Like it's just a fun vibey tune for me sometimes. Specifically the remix with Billy Ray Cyrus though. Just got to put that out there. Also in this category of 4.0 to 4.9 is The Search by NF. I've listened to the title track and it's all right. I guess this is fair. I know a lot of people give NF a lot of, I think, unjustified hate. And I know that the big NF criticism is that like all of his albums sound the same. So I think The Search is one of the newer ones, so that's got to take you down the rankings. But at a 4.1, Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon, The End of Day. 4.1. The album that spawned hits such as Day and Night, Pursuit of Happiness. There's another one that I can't remember right now. But it's there. Man on the Moon. Wow. Solo Dolo. Okay, yeah, I think it's Solo Dolo that I'm thinking of. But yeah, no, the album that spawned hits like Day and Night and Pursuit of Happiness is a 4.1. While Y2K by Ice Spice gets to have a 7.6. I'm sorry I keep going back to like Ice Spice. No hate on her, she's doing her thing. But that was a bad album and it should be rated as such. And now we're here in the 4s and Kid Cudi's here. And it's not for Speeding Bullet to Heaven. Or what was it? Speeding Bullet. I think it's Speeding Bullet to Heaven. His weird screamy rock one. You get what I'm saying. Let's keep going down, shall we? 3.0 to 3.9. Really bad, incompetent, and thoughtless. Let's start with the albums that I don't recognize off the top of my head. End Times by Eels, 2010, 3.9. Not an album I've ever heard of. Give it a listen. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I don't know. We've also got Traffic and Weather by Fountains of Wayne. If you don't know Fountains of Wayne, they're the group that made the song Stacy's Mom. So depending on how you feel about that song, it might influence your opinion on this one, but they got a solid 3.0. Skins by XXX is at a 3.0, which feels too low, but I'm not gonna lie, I pulled up the track list for it, and I don't recognize any of the songs off the top of my head, except for Whoa, because I listened to the remix with Juice WRLD on it before. So, like, I get it. It doesn't have a lot of hits. I don't know if I would call it incompetent and thoughtless. However, the last album here is none other than Lasers by Lupe Fiasco. Yep. Lupe Fiasco's Lasers, the album that spawned the hit of The Show Goes On, is somehow a 3.0. And I've never heard the rest of the album. Like, straight up, I've never heard the rest of the album. However, The Show Goes On just by itself is enough to elevate it above a 3.0 in my head. I guess we'll find out whenever I do my re-ranking Pitchfork albums tier list, whatever the fuck I'm gonna make it into. Let's go down to 2.0 to 2.9. There's just one word here. Terrible. The Fragile by 9 Inch Nails is a 2.0. But this is where my space is. Because the other three of these albums I can talk about. First, let's talk about Come Home, The Kids Miss You. The Jack Harlow project. Now, I know it's pretty bad. Not gonna lie, it's bad. Should it get a 2.9 while Y2K by Ice Spice gets a 7.6? Hell no. If it was me, I would flip the numbers, but I actually liked Come Home, The Kids Miss You. I liked parts of it. I know the Justin Timberlake song gets hate, but like I kind of like it. I like First Class, even though his delivery is goofy. I've always liked Jack Harlow in his goofy bag. I think that's where he shines the best. So as long as he's delivering lines like "Keep it short with a bitch, Lord Farquaad," like I think that's where he excels the most. At a 2.8 is Recovery by Eminem. Now, maybe I'll make a whole video on this purely by itself. I think Recovery by Eminem is actually one of his best albums. I might get hate for this, but I'm not as I wasn't raised in the generation, so you can call me a disrespectful newbie all you want, but I like listening to songs from Recovery more than I like listening to songs. Even if we're just talking hits, I like listening to songs from Recovery more than I do from Slim Shady LP or Marshall Mathers LP. Either one of them. I like listening to Recovery songs more than more than the Eminem Show. Till I Collapse with Nate Dogg is possibly my favorite Eminem song of all time. Gotta give that the shout out. But when you look at Recovery, in my head, it's just, there's so many, like, better, like, not better songs, but, like, better songs. I'll say it. Fuck it. I'll say it. I don't know. It's just better songs to me. You're looking at songs like Talking to Myself. Not Afraid, No Love, Cinderella Man. I'm not actually as fan of that one. I'm not a fan of Cinderella Man. Love the Way You Lie. Like, these are certified bangers. And yet, here we are talking about, like, Recovery's awful at a 2.8. Recovery by Eminem is easily clearing Music by Playboi Carti. And yet Playboi Carti's music is ranked 5 whole points ahead of it. Alright, now this next one is kind of an expert area of mine. It's The Carter 6 by Lil Wayne. Now listen, I made a whole video, way too long, about The Carter 6 by Lil Wayne. I defended it when no one else would, because this album is not that bad. Is it the worst Carter album? Yes, by a landslide. But is it his worst album, period? No. Did we forget about Rebirth? He grabbed a guitar and thought he could sing. And then when he found out he couldn't, he slapped as much auto-tune on that thing as he could. The truth is, I feel that the Carter 6 at least honestly might be the next step to rejuvenating his career. For a while now, nobody's been really paying attention to Lil Wayne's projects. He'll appear on guest verses and smoke it and be like, hell yeah, Lil Wayne's here, right? He delivers good verses. But nobody listens to his projects because he was kind of making the same thing, stagnant, for a while. The Carter 6 changed it. Some of it was not good. Do I have to talk about Peanuts to an Elephant? The Lin-Manuel Miranda produced beat. No, I don't want to. This is not how that album works. Alright. And also, if you look at Pitchfork is one of the few that are truly going to town on this album. If you look at the Carter 6, right? Bad songs, right? We're looking for really bad songs. Now, in my opinion, I'll point exactly to the truly bad songs. The worst. The Days with Bono is kind of bad. Flex Up is forgettable. Island Holiday, the Weezer one, is pretty bad. Peanuts to an Elephant. Rari with Cameron Carter, Moolah coming in, even Alone in the Studio with My Gun, the Kodak Black verse kills me, just absolutely kills it for me. You look at the bonus tracks. Mama Don't Worry with Future and Lil Baby is actually a good song. He should have put that on the album. I don't know anything about these physical edition bonus tracks, but all right, go to town. But it's... The Carter 6 is not a 2.9 bad, in my eyes. And in the general public's eyes, it's just an incredibly mid album. Metacritic said it's 50. I was on Wikipedia, I saw a whole bunch of 2.5 stars, 3 stars. There was one site that rated it like an 8 out of 10, but I don't know how that happened. Alright, we're almost at the end here. 1.0 to 1.9. Terrible and symptomatic of some kind of larger problem in music or the world. You've got albums like Heathen Chemistry by Oasis, an album I know nothing about, at a 1.2. Lateralis by Tool, 1.9. A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, Panic at the Disco, 1.5. I feel like just the song I Write Sins Not Tragedies would escalate it to more than it. Like, I would put, just for that song alone, I'm going 2.5. But if the rest of the album really is that bad, then I guess Blue Slide Park by Mac Miller is a 1.0. Now, granted, I've heard of a lot of Mac Miller albums. I've heard the name of Kids. I've heard the name of Good AM, right? Swimming, Balloonerism. What's the other one I was just thinking of? I don't know. Now, I haven't heard the name Blue Slide Park. So, is it one of his worst works? Maybe. It's one that doesn't get talked about a lot. I am not in a place to judge that, so. And then the last page here, 0 to 0.9, worthless. At a 0.4, Make Believe by Weezer. Don't know anything about that project. At a 0.3, Uterus and Fire by Old Time Religion. Jeez. 0.1, Feel No Fade, Push Kings. And at a flat 0, NYC Ghosts and Flowers by Sonic Youth. I don't know anything about those albums, so I can't really talk on something I have no clue about. Like that, specifically in depth. Now, is Pitchfork kinda right sometimes? Sure. Do I believe them if I haven't listened into an album yet? Yes. Do I find myself disagreeing with them on the albums I have listened to? Yes. All the time. Does that make me think maybe I shouldn't trust Pitchfork? Yes. And this rating system has become such a meme of how bad of a rating system it is that it's honestly funny now. Like, it's the meme about Pitchfork, like, with the Peppa Pig thing. It's like the meme that they make bad rankings and they do a poor job. But with their poor job of ranking things so inaccurately, on top of them moving to a $5 a month subscription service rather than letting you view reviews just for free online is definitely reasons that I will not be continuing giving Pitchfork any mind. Not that I did before, I'm going to be honest. I kind of live in my own world. An album comes out, maybe I listen to it, maybe I don't, and then I formulate my own opinion a lot. So I don't really tap into Pitchfork. But now I'm going to make sure that I avoid them at all costs. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see me go through the pain of listening to all of those albums and release like the big tier list video of like me ranking all the albums and see how close to Pitchfork I am. Maybe I'm just a tyrannical like Pitchfork guy. Maybe I'm just like them for real. I'm looking at my clock here and this video is way longer than I thought it was going to be, but maybe that's not a bad thing. I'm just going to try and end this quickly so that this doesn't drag on for any more than it has to. I just want to say thank you all for watching, especially to the end. I know this is quite the long video about a single Instagram post that absolutely none of you care about. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace, love, read a book, drink some water, just like I have been, and do something to make your life a little better every day. And keep on burning up that dance floor.